I originally wasn't going to weigh in on this whole G4 shuts down situation, but just the days following and the fallout have been absolutely wonderful. So I thought we would examine it and talk about it together. So let's start with this headline here, brought to us by Variety. This broke on Sunday. A lot of you probably already know. G4 TV shuts down 2 years after Comcast tried to revive gaming network, resulting in layoff of 45 employees. So moment of silence. It's done. G4 has shut its studio doors. It has discontinued programming and laid off its remaining employees. So it's done. And we all saw it coming. I mean, anybody with a functional frontal cortex saw this coming. I mean, if you had eyes to see and ears to hear, you knew G4 was going to be shutting its doors. I mean, they laid off about 2/3 of their staff last month, and this was it. The final shoe dropped, and it's finished its close. And how did we get here? Well, G4 used to be a network that you could watch on your satellite cable providers. They were instrumental in kind of creating the space of video game reviewing and gameplay videos. But as that community grew online, the need for the network dwindled, so it canceled back in, I think, 2013. They tried to revive it last year with a lot of big money sponsors behind them, or big money donors, and they tried to revive it as an internet channel, and a lot of people were really excited about it. A lot of people that were X-Play fans, the internet was all abuzz about it. They had a well-known name. They were bringing back a couple original hosts. They were bringing back the original shows. People were excited to see it, and then one of their newer hosts, esports commentator they brought in called Frosk, absolutely torpedoed the entire network by going on a rant about sexism in gaming and talking about how she doesn't like that she's not perceived as quote-unquote as bangable as the old hosts. And she went on to say that the hosts don't even play the video games. They have a team of people that do them, then just write review scripts that they read on camera. It was awful. It was legendarily bad. And now it is just kind of went viral, and it's become a bit of internet lore now. It's, if you search, you'll probably find it. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for G4. They began hemorrhaging viewers and subscribers. I mean, Frost, she said it. She said the words at the end of her rant. If you don't like what I'm saying, then don't watch. Well, Frost, your audience listened. Nobody watched. Your viewership was terrible, and it even says in their statement, canceled for low viewership, and that they were not reaping any kind of financial reward that justified the amount of money they were putting into it. So yeah, it was done. And while Frost wasn't the only problem they had, I mean, they have other hosts that are online just saying the most vile and divisive crap, and splitting their potential audience in half. And it's just an example of when you go out there and you decide that you're going to be the face of a company and you're going to put your political ideals ahead of your company's business interests, and you're going to invite anyone who doesn't think exactly like you and doesn't vote exactly like you and doesn't believe exactly what you believe, that you don't want them, patronizing your store, consuming your product, watching your content, whatever it is, you're going to fail. That's not a recipe for success. And that's exactly what they did. And now they've closed their doors because of it, and it's sad. This wasn't the ending that I wanted for G4, and that's where we kind of start getting into the aftermath of this whole thing, because a lot of the reporting out there, as this has gone on, as this kind of has had a couple of days now to marinate, a lot of the reporters are saying, oh, well, right-wingers shut down G4. They got it closed down, and Gamergate and other fill-in-the-blank YouTube personality are just over the moon with happiness now that G4 is shut down. And while I can't speak for all of them, no, this wasn't the ending I wanted for G4. What I wanted for G4 was to recognize the error that they had made and see the path that they were headed down and course correct and try to do something to ingratiate those fans back into the fold, whether that be a change of personnel as far as the hosts go, or more of a variety of programming that's going to appeal to a wider array of people and maybe downplay the presence of their more divisive personalities. Whatever that looked like, I wanted G4 to find a way to succeed, but I wanted them to do it by stopping their dependence and even going as far as condemning the divisive stuff that was being said on their network and divisive tweets and social media posts that were being said by their hosts. I mean, you've got to understand time and place. Frost had every right to say what she said. I'm not even saying that everything she said was incorrect, but one, time and place, you don't say it on air on your video game review show where people just came to you to watch video games. They didn't come to you to be attacked. And then two, how you say it's kind of important. There are probably 1,000 more diplomatic ways she could have gotten her point across that would have been fair, that would have been effectively communicating what she has to say, while at the same time not attacking and antagonizing her fan base. I mean, and that's, you got to understand, when you are somebody who is a face for a company like Frost or like Adam Sessler or all these other people were, and then you go on Twitter and you say, in Adam Sessler's own words, all Republicans should be made to drink a glass of piss, you're reflecting your company because you are a public face saying something on a public forum. You need to watch yourself. And honestly, the company, I would rather seen them part ways with those hosts and acknowledge that we don't stand for this kind of divisive speech here at G4 and move forward and continue as a successful network. But that's not what they did. So, and as a result, they have had to shut down. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move over to the cesspool that is Twitter, because the next stage of this wonderful just opera of internet collapse is Frost's post. Now, before I go over, I want to give the usual disclaimer. I know I don't really have to say that for the community that's part of this channel, but really, don't go harass anybody on Twitter. Don't find these people and dox them or say, you know, horrible things on their comments thread. We're just going to look at them. We're going to look at them like just a cautionary road sign of how not to behave on Twitter. So here we go. This is Frost's Twitter account. My sexism in this is Frost speaking, by the way. My sexism in gaming segment was approved by all executive showrunners in X-Play. So that's important, that first sentence. Like I said, a lot of the reporting right now is saying right-wing people shut down G4. No, they didn't. The hosts, with their divisive language, shut down G4. The producers, and the heads of this network shut down the programming by not shutting this stuff down, not getting these hosts off the airway, not reining in what their people were doing on social media when they weren't at work. That's what shut down your company. Right? When all we did was point it out. A lot of people like to say, oh, well, you know, you didn't have to take that segment and share it 100,000 times and make it go viral. Well, but who created the segment? Honestly, who did? You could find it just on their website. Up until about a month ago when they did the first round of layoffs, it wasn't hard to find. So who produced it? Who created it? Who backed it? It says in this right here, first sentence of her first post, my sexism in gaming segment was approved by all executive showrunners in X-Play. Now, to be fair, this is Frost absolutely throwing her former bosses directly under the bus and saying, hey, you know, everything that I did, I had the blessing and go-ahead of the people ahead of me. So don't blame me, blame them. So she is completely trying to absolve herself of responsibility. Let's continue. When I was originally hired and cast, G4 made the internal statement that diversity and inclusion was what it was built on to fix the past. So what that I believe she's referring to is in the past they used to have these like spokesmodel, very beautiful women as part of the coast. Like Olivia Munn is probably the most famous example. She got her start on G4. And that was essential to what Frost was saying in her rant, that in the past they would bring these women on that were, you know, beautiful and for their looks, and she was definitely not that. I mean, she said so in her rant. That's her speaking, not me. And so now they are going to make diversity and inclusion the central focus of what the company is built on. I 100% believe what she is saying right now to be true, and that's because it shows in the way the company performed in the single year it existed. Because obviously that was what was front and central to them: not making a profit, not delivering quality programming, not building an audience, not creating content that anybody wanted to see, not looking at what was popular, not the video game reviews, what they were supposed to be about. No, their central driving force was diversity and inclusion. That's what their company was built on. That was their mission statement. That's not what the video game review channel is supposed to be. Your mission statement should be something along the lines of finding the newest and greatest video games in our culture, reviewing them honestly and faithfully, and letting no game, no matter how large or small, escape our notice. Whatever you want to say. That, and if diversity and inclusion can be done while attaining that mission statement, then good for you. But your mission statement should be what your company what your company was set out to supposedly be: video game reviews and gameplay video channel. That's what, not diversity and inclusion channel. So I was fully supported initially until doxing and threats. So, i.e., she was supported by the management until they were confronted with the unfortunate results of their board decision making. She goes on another post after that. Then I asked for support multiple times and was ignored or directly lied to about support coming. No guidelines, no plans, no help. The management changed and it became openly hostile. So why did it become openly hostile, Frost? Did it maybe because the management changed because viewership was tanking and you were bleeding subscribers because of the rant you went on, and maybe there was a little bit of blame for that? Now, mind you, based on her initial post, she's trying to absolve herself of blame. This came from higher up. They backed me. They wanted this. This is what they hired me to do, according to her. So again, she's washed her hands clean of this. I have no part in the closing doors and people losing their jobs. Final post. And now the last thing I'll say about G4. People who I worked with were lovely. I gave them everything, producer, writer, host, and more. Would do it again. Well, that doesn't really jive with the rest of your statement, does it? Were you treated hostilely? Were you left directionless with no guidelines, no plan? Management changes that you weren't a part of? Threats made, doxing, you do all that again? I guess there must have been a good side in there somewhere. Maybe it was just the paycheck, I would imagine. But there you go. That's Frost completely saying, I'm clean of all this. I have no blood on my hands. The G4 shut down because G4's management hired me to do something and I did it. And I believe her. I really do. And I do that based on the fact that we are looking at a company that is completely defunct after barely a year because they were founded with the wrong guiding principles. They were founded on the guiding principles. They call it diversity and inclusion, but we all know that those are just buzzwords. Those are things to make them sound impressive and sound classy. But they were found on woke identity politics, and they tried to execute that, and they put their business model second. And as a result, they've closed their doors. They had no choice because there's no road to success in building a company on political ideals. There just isn't. I mean, capitalism is still what we are in this society, and capitalism is a jungle, and it is survival of the fittest. And if you go out there without the evolutionary tools needed to survive, which means you're going out there and your goal is to consume, your goal is to make money and grow. And the way that something like G4 makes money and grows is by producing content, by appealing to as many people as possible, especially when you're already a niche thing, video games. It may be a large community, but you're appealing to a small niche group of people. And they threw all that out the window when they decided to split their entire potential audience in half by focusing on divisive, political, just garbage. I mean, it's not the ending I wanted for G4, like I said, but it's the ending they deserve. Sorry. But, that's probably all I'm going to say on G4, unless I just get some more magical content. I mean, who knows? This is unfolding to just be a dumpster fire of drama. Pardon me, and I am here for that. So, let's talk about in the comments below. Who do you blame for the closure of G4? Is it the host? Is it the management? Was it just a bad idea to begin with? Should they have never even endeavored this multi-million-dollar boondoggle of an effort to bring G4 back? It was maybe it was just an antiquated idea that was best left to the early 2000s. Let's talk about in the comments. While you're down there, please do all the usual stuff. Like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, and I will talk to you guys in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say on this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.